Are you in a situation where you feel like your marriage has just come to an end and you're trying to figure out how to move forward, how to proceed, how to end the marriage amicably? There are ways in which you can do that. There are steps that you can take in order to have the smoothest possible outcome when it comes to ending a marriage. And look, marriages are never easy to end, right? This is memories that you've built. This is time that you've spent with this individual. There is love there. There potentially may not be love there, but my assumption would be if you are watching this video and you are trying to figure out a way to end your marriage, it is because you are trying to end it in the most amicable way possible and the most stress-free way that you possibly can. And look, the reality is there will absolutely be stress involved in ending the marriage. But again, there are certain ways in which you can go about ending the marriage that will help to reduce that level of stress. If you are looking to keep things, again, amicable, and you're trying to end things on as good of a note as you possibly can. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Danny and I am your life and relationship coach. I am also one of the head coaches here at the Happily Committed Project. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because it is something that I actually commonly get in my emails. Unfortunately, this is a subject that comes up a lot. And for a lot of you, you are in a position where you're trying to figure out whether you should stay in the marriage or not. But if you are watching this video, my assumption is that you have chosen to move forward with ending the marriage and are wondering what the best ways are of going about it. So, the very first thing that I always recommend to people and that I recommend to you is commit to the decision. Committing to the decision of one of the most important things that you can do. So, if you have not fully decided whether you want to walk away from the marriage, right? If this is something that you've just been contemplating for a short period of time, take your time with it. This is going to be one of the most important decisions that you make. This is going to be a very life-altering decision. And there are many articles that we have on our website. There are videos that we've created to help you decide whether it is time to walk away from the marriage. And that is something that is covered again in the other videos. It's not something that I will be covering in this video because this video specifically is about the steps that you can take. But if you are trying to figure out how to identify whether the marriage is over, we have other resources for you as well. That being said, going back to what I said, you have to commit. Committing is incredibly important. The last thing that you want to do is have the conversation with your spouse and say, hey, you know what? I am over this. I can't do this anymore. The relationship is over. I want a divorce. And then a week later, change your mind, right? Because once those words leave your mouth, they cannot be taken back. And it will change the dynamic of the relationship. It'll change the way in which your spouse views the relationship. Now, for you, you may be saying, well, what does that matter? I've already been unhappy for a really long time. But again, if there is any doubt in your mind, take your time, because once you decide to move forward with the divorce, you have to commit to that decision. The second one is be clear and concise in the reasons for why you're wanting to walk away from the marriage, right? So when you finally decide to walk away, when you finally decide to end the marriage and you sit down to have that conversation with your spouse or your partner, it is very important for you to be very clear, very direct, and understand the reasons for why you are wanting to walk away from the marriage. Because the last thing that you want to do is leave things open to interpretation. If you leave things open to interpretation and your ex or soon to be ex, your spouse, your partner has to try to come up with the reasons for why the marriage may possibly be ending, it's going to cause a lot more stress. It's going to cause a lot more anxiety. They're going to question you a lot more. They're going to try to convince you that your thought process or your way of thinking may not be accurate. So if you have taken the time to really think about it and you understand from an emotional level why you are deciding to walk away from the marriage, it makes the delivery of that message, it makes the execution of ending the marriage a little bit easier because there isn't any room for interpretation. The third one is total transparency, right? At the end of the day, this involves two people, you and your spouse. right? You and your partner. And to some degree, there has to be a level of empathy and patience when you are ending a marriage. And if your partner or your spouse wants to know why, what are the reasons? When did things get so bad? Why are you choosing to end it? Is there something going on the side? Are you having relations with somebody else? Whatever questions they are going to ask you, I highly recommend being transparent, trying your best not to get defensive, and just be open and honest with the reasons for why you're wanting to end it, right? At the end of the day, I don't think it's going to come as a shock to your partner if you're planning on ending the marriage, because that's, to me, is an indication that there were already things that were wrong in the marriage for an extended period of time. So if they are completely oblivious to the fact that you are not happy and that you are wanting to end the marriage, then I understand the reasons for wanting to end the marriage, right? Because they aren't maybe giving you the amount of attention that you deserve, they aren't understanding you. But again, this is a life altering decision, and it affects more than just you. So allow yourself, give yourself the opportunity to exercise some empathy and some patience, and be completely transparent with your partner with whatever questions they decide to ask you, as long as those questions are not rude, are not disrespectful, right? The fourth one is listen to your partner's concerns, right? So it segues off of what I just said. So again, it's going to be an open dialogue, a conversation. And you know what? They may not even want to talk. They may not even be able to fully process and understand what's going on. So it may take them a minute to actually formulate the questions that they want to ask, because they're having to take in the fact that their marriage is ending, that your marriage is ending. So, listen to them, hear what they have to say, and also express and explain yourself again as to the reasons for why. Just be clear and concise and consistent. And the last part of this is compromise, right? Compromise is a big piece to the puzzle here. If you are wanting to end the marriage amicably, if you are wanting to try to reduce the amount of stress, and you want to potentially maybe end up being friends, or maybe you have to co-parent together, and there's certain responsibilities that you will have to share for the rest of your lives, right? It would behoove you, and I highly recommend, to try to end things on an amicable level. And if that is the case, that's going to involve compromise. So there may be some things that you may not necessarily like, but if they do not affect you at a core level and they aren't going to impact your life negatively moving forward, then try to exercise, again, some compassion, and try to exercise the ability to compromise with your partner. But same has to come from them, right? I'm not telling you to sit here and compromise and compromise and compromise, and your partner is not willing to bend, right? It has to be a two-way street at the end of the day. So if they are being incredibly difficult and they are making your life a living hell, then at that point, that's a totally different situation, a different circumstance, and I can create another video about that. But again, it is very important to make sure you try to compromise if you want to end things well or on a good note. If you like this video, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. I love to read your comments, so make sure, if you feel like I may have missed something, if you have any questions, if you want to add something to it, just leave it all down below. I try to read as many as possible. I try to answer as many of your comments as possible as well. Maybe you just want to know a little bit more, right? You want to dive in a little bit deeper. We have a multitude of different articles and blogs and videos related to this subject and many other subjects as well. If you feel like you need more support, if you feel like this is just going to be incredibly difficult and you need a different perspective, I would be more than happy to support you through that. You can book a coaching session with either myself or any of the other amazing coaches that we have on the team via the website. The website is www.happily committed.com. We also have a multitude of different products that you can purchase that will help you through this process. So if you go to the website, there's a section that says products. Go ahead and check that out. We have a ton of resources for you, and I guarantee you guys it is something that's going to help you exponentially throughout your journey and throughout your process. Again, my name is Danny. I'm your life and relationship coach. I hope you're staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you soon.